technical difficulties in the beginning. Tasha is checking in with another video. And this is going to be a story time video, y'all. So I said I would come live on Sundays and do some story times. So if it's your first time joining me, go ahead and like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the Redefine Me channel. We have a good time over here. Okay, so disclaimer. Before I start the story time, this is going to be a very touchy, personal, emotional, probably story time. And so I'm asking for you all to please be respectful in the comments. Now, if you are not respectful, I will delete you. I will probably block you from my page because I want to share my story times of past experiences that has happened in order to help somebody. That has happened in my life in order to help somebody, okay? So with that being said, please be respectful. So I feel like I'm off center. Let me center myself a little bit. A little bit. So give me 1 second. All right. So until Love After Lockup comes back on, which is what I do on Sundays, I'm going to do story times with you all. And hopefully y'all enjoy these story times. Some of them are funny. Some of them are hard. I have a couple on my page, but because YouTube frowns upon people driving while doing any type of video, some of my story times are with me driving. So I'm going to delete some of the story times on my page, retell them when I'm stationary. Now, if I cough during the story time, I'm getting over a cold. If y'all see my eye is a little red or something over here, I don't know what that is. Maybe it's part of the cold. I don't know, but I'm on my way to healing. So let's get into the story time. So this story time is as of most recent, okay? So let's rewind the life. Rewind the life, okay? So I got married when I was 40 years old. At that time, my daughter was 19. Yeah, my daughter was 19 when I got married, okay? So I was 40 years old when I got married. Now, this is something that I never thought would happen at that age. I always thought that I would be married much earlier on in life. However, God had different plans for me, so I ended up not getting married until I was 40. Okay, cool. My husband does not have any biological children. And so when we met, I was 35. And he did tell me that he wanted to have children. And I told him, hello everybody, what's up, Jay? Just to let y'all know, disclaimer, this is a very personal story time. So if you're coming in the room and you say something crazy, I will block you, okay? This is a story time that I'm using from personal experience in order to possibly help someone. So if you're coming in the room, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel, please be respectful of this story time. It is a story time of my personal life, okay? So, getting back to that. Good morning, everyone. I don't know what time it is where you all are coming in from. Right now, it's 6:35 in the evening where I am. I'm in the United States in Atlanta, Georgia. And that's what time it is here. So I'm going to give y'all a moment to come in the room. Hit the like button. Yes, thank you, Miss 444. Las Vegas in the building. What's up, Maurice Cooks? Thank you for joining the live. Make sure y'all subscribing to the channel. I am a lifestyle channel. What's up, Honeybee? And I do a plethora of great content over here. So sit back and listen to this story time. If you love this story time, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all hitting the like button when y'all come in. What's up? I'm Legend from Arizona. What's up, Gabriel? Welcome to the live. What's up from India? Welcome. All right, y'all. So I got married when I was 40 years old, right? I know I don't look a day over something. But I got married when I was 40. Never thought that would happen. I always thought I would be married sooner than I was, right? And I'm just getting over a cold. So if my voice sounds different, that's the reason. If my eye looks a little puffy or something going on over here, that's the reason as well. What's up, Kojo? Is that Gojo? What's up? All right. make sure y'all smash this like button because this story time is very great that I'm about to give y'all. Smash the like button and subscribe. All right, so my husband, when I met him at 35. Okay, so when I met him when I moved to Georgia. I'm originally from Washington, D.C., and so I wasn't really looking to meet my husband. When I met my husband, I had just broke up with this really jacked up dude from Alabama, which I would not mention his name because I want to be respectful. But this dude played in my face. He gaslit me. He played all these games with me for 2 years. I dealt with this dude, dealt with him long distance. And when the opportunity came for me to move to Georgia, which was closer to Alabama, I thought our relationship was going to just go up from there. Whole time, he was playing with me and he did not want to be married, and that's something that I wanted to be. And so he broke up with me and everything, and when he broke up with me, he tried to slither back into my life. Right, it didn't happen. Fast forward a week after I broke up with the horrible dude from Alabama, I met my husband. I walked into his restaurant. My husband owns his own restaurant here in Georgia, and I was doing Postmates. Postmates is like Uber Eats, it's like DoorDash and stuff like that when you pick up food and you deliver it, right? So I had an order, and I walked into my husband's restaurant. A couple of people had told me they was going to bring me my food. My order would be ready. The last person that came to bring me my food was my husband. Of course, I didn't know he was going to be my husband at the time. We held a conversation for a little bit. He asked me would I come back after I dropped the food off. I dropped the food off. I came back to his restaurant. We sat at the bar and we talked and talked and talked until they closed. He told me at that moment that you're going to be my wife one day. I laughed it off and I was like, yeah, right. I'm from DC. I've heard every pickup line you could think of, and I dismissed him. However, that fast forward did come to life. Life, death and life is in the power of your tongue. And so he spoke life into our relationship in the very beginning. So we ended up was seeing other people. I was seeing other people. He was seeing other people. Fast forward 3 or 4 months later after we met, we decided to make it official. And we have been together ever since, okay? We have now been together for 6 years. I want to say 6 years, and we've been married for 2. We will celebrate our 3rd year anniversary September 18th of this year. And so let's bring it up to date. So he doesn't have any children, right? Going into our relationship, I had a daughter. When we met, my daughter was 14. When we got married, my daughter was 19. And so, or either she was going on 19. And so he always told me from the start that he wanted children. And I did say that I was not against having children because I wasn't. I always wanted to have multiple children. And I have another story time on that for another day. However, I was like, well, I'm not against having one more child. And he was like, well, one more child is great for me. So cool, we agreed on that. So fast forward, we got married, and right away we got into action. And y'all know what that means because we're all adults here, so I hope. And we started practicing on this baby. And so we practiced on this baby. So a year into our marriage, pregnancy wasn't happening, and I was becoming very discouraged. I was just like, why are we not having a baby? I know that we're older. However, we're not that old. There's still women these days that are having babies into their 40s and all of that. And men can have babies up until they're like 78, 80 years old. Look at Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. They have had babies and they like 70, late 70s, 80 years old. And so I'm thinking all we got to do is just, have the sex and we can have the baby, right? So I went and we decided to do some fertility planning. So we decided to go check out his sperm, check out my eggs. So we found out that his sperm is marching, and we found out that my eggs are still, active, and I'm able to get pregnant. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, great. This should be able to be a thing. We should be able to get pregnant. And so a year, we're still trying. Going into our second year, almost into our second year, I got pregnant. I never forget when it was. It was in December, actually. Now, it was December 2023. So we was going into 2024. So I had missed my cycle, of course. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm pregnant. I'm definitely pregnant and everything. And so I went and I took a pregnancy test. Now, the pregnancy test had the faint lines and everything, And so, but it was given the pregnancy lines. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm pregnant. I was so excited about this, right? And so I wanted to be sure though. So I wanted one of those pregnancy tests that was what's it that they put up actually pregnant or not pregnant, because I didn't want to trust those lines. So I took two of the line tests. I went and got the digital pregnancy test, and I took the digital pregnancy test, and the digital pregnancy test said that you are definitely pregnant. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. We've been trying. I was scared and excited at the same time, because at this point, my daughter was 20 years old, and I had not been pregnant for 20 years. I had not been a mom for 20 years. Well, still a mom, but I had not been a mom to a toddler or a baby in 20 years. And so I was just like, oh my God, how's this going to be? Am I going to have to stop doing my job and working on businesses and stuff? Am I going to be on bed rest? Like, all these other things was going on. But I was excited, more excited for my husband, because he doesn't have any children. So fast forward, I told my husband. He was through the roof excited, right? I have never seen him so happy before in the time that we have been married. Like, he's been excited before, of course, but when I told him I was pregnant, he was so happy because he wanted this baby. And I will be honest, I believe he wanted this baby more than me, because I have already, partaken or partook of motherhood, and he has now partaken of fatherhood. And so we went on. I made my doctor's appointment so that I could confirm that I was pregnant. Okay, so we went on and everything. About 3 or 4 weeks into my pregnancy, I went to the bathroom one day and I began to spot. And I was just like, oh my God, what is going on? One thing that I knew without a doubt, that when you're pregnant, the period, the blood and everything, and this is a little graphic, I'm sorry about that, but that is supposed to cease. And so I was nervous about that. And so I knew that the spotting was supposed to be a thing. So immediately when I saw that, I was at work and I told my supervisor I had to leave. And, she already knew I was pregnant, because I let my job know, because I work in the post office, but I work in the warehouse part. So some of the things that we do is kind of strenuous, especially for a woman of my age that was pregnant. So I made sure I told them right away. And so I told my supervisor what was going on, and she said, yes, you can leave and everything. I was filling out the slip for me to leave, and I broke down and I'm crying and everything. And everybody, I had a couple of people I was cool with. My supervisor just like, it's okay, it's probably nothing. People were trying to encourage me, everything like that. The one thing I will say, sidebar, about the post office, you stay in this job for such a period of time, you end up growing a relationship with your coworkers, not just a surface level coworker relationship. You end up being family with these people. These people have witnessed you probably get married, had children, go to school, all types of stuff. And so I love the post office for that. So when they found out that I was spotting, I filled out my leave slip and I left. I went home. I told my husband what was going on. We immediately went to the emergency room. When we got to the emergency room, I don't know why they call the emergency room the emergency room. They really should call the emergency room like the whenever we can get to you if you're not actually shot or dying room. Like, that's what they should call it. But however, we sat in the emergency room for hours, for like 8 hours. Finally, we got brought to the back. They was checking me and everything, and they was just saying, we see the sac. There's the spotting is probably happening in the beginning of pregnancies, normally with older women that happens. And so, if you continue to bleed for the next 3 days, then come back. And so I said, okay, fine. That's all they told us, right? So we left. Went home and I'm praying, and I go to church and I'm just asking my congregation to pray and everything, that nothing is happening to the baby. So I am, going about working, still checking, hoping and praying that the blood just dries up, right? And so for the next 3 days, the blood continued to come. It continued to bleed. Not heavy bleeding, but spotting. Excuse me, just getting over a cold. If y'all heard that, I'm sorry. So I went on, still spotting and everything going on. So I went back to the emergency room. Again, we're sitting there and we're waiting. And my husband is like, listen, I ain't trying to sit here and wait for another 8 hours for them to tell us nothing. So this second time, I called my OB. I was supposed to have an appointment to confirm the pregnancy. It was supposed to be like in a week or two. But I couldn't wait that long because it was an emergency. So the OB told me to come in the next day. Okay, so we left the emergency room. We did not get seen the second time because we weren't about to go through that, right? No, I'm sorry, back up. We got seen the second time. And the second time they were saying you same thing. They see the sac, it's in the beginning of the pregnancy, this may dry, blah, blah. So fast forward. The third time we went back to the emergency room, my husband was like, we're not staying here all night, right? I agreed with him, right? So I called my OB. My OB fast-tracked my appointment to the next day and said, come in at this day and let's see what's going on. So we came in, we did a sonogram and everything. They saying the same thing that the emergency room says. So I'm thinking to myself, why y'all keep saying this? I am bleeding. I'm not supposed to be bleeding if I'm pregnant. So got into with the OB. They saying the same thing. Fine. They booked me an appointment. Come back in a couple of days if you're still spotting or bleeding or whatever. Fine. We go home. I'm up here, still praying, still trying to trust and believe God in this matter, right? And so next 3 days, I called them back. I said, I'm still bleeding. They told me come back in. I come back in. At this point, I meet Dr. Gordon. This is my OB that I have right now. When I tell you, this may sound like it's playing a race card, but I'm not, okay? Black women, get a black doctor. And I'm just going to keep it 100 because all the other doctors I had seen was not my race. And because of that, I feel like this is what played a pivotal moment in somebody actually being honest with us. Because not saying other races of doctors are not good, right? They are, okay? I'm not taking away from that. However, when you have a black woman doctor that goes through the things that black women go through and she understands, she will be straight up and honest with you. And in comes Dr. Gordon. Me and my husband are waiting in the room and we're waiting to hear from the OB. Dr. Gordon comes in, excuse me. Dr. Gordon comes in and Dr. Gordon tells us straight up, she says, listen, I'm going to be super honest with you all. You all are having a miscarriage. And me and my husband sat back and we were just like, I can't believe this. Like, seriously, we've been waiting a year for this to happen. And finally it happens because at first we thought it was something wrong with us. We thought that maybe we wasn't going to be able to have a baby. And so she said, I'm going to be honest with y'all, you all are having a miscarriage. Not only were we having a miscarriage, she said the weird thing about your sonogram was that we see the sac where the baby is supposed to be, but it's no baby in there. It's no pee, no nothing in there. It's just the sac. And I'm like, am I some type of medical mystery or something? Like, how do you take a test, several tests, and it confirms that you're pregnant, right? You have the sac, but there's no baby inside the sac, or there's no inkling of life inside the sac. And so Dr. Gordon was telling us, and I know she was trying to be very comforting. She was just like, you know what? Don't think of it as that you lost the baby because there was really no baby inside the sac. Just think of it as that it was a pregnancy that had complications, that was a mishap and whatever. I heard her, but I didn't hear her because all I was hearing was that I was having a miscarriage, okay? And all I was hearing was that I don't care if you said there wasn't a baby in my sac that you saw. When them pregnancy tests told me that I was pregnant, I believe that I was pregnant. And so that's what it was for me. It did not stop the way that we felt. We were anticipating a baby and everything like that. So Dr. Gordon tells us, what the next steps we should go through as far as planning. Let's get my husband's sperm checked, let's get my eggs checked and everything. We did all of that. We found out that we were in good shape. She said because you all did conceive and get pregnant, there may be some other things going on, so they wanted to test my tubes to make sure that my tubes can actually hold the sperm that will come to the egg. And so fast forward, we tested my tubes. They did something called, I forgot what it's called. It's the HSG or H something. So what an H something is, because I don't know the proper term, they're supposed to put fluid inside of your fallopian tubes, and they have a screen there, and you can actually see it. And a liquid goes into your tubes, and then what's supposed to happen is it's supposed to spill out, okay? So once you get it filled up, it's supposed to spill out, and once it spills out, it's supposed to let them know that you have healthy tubes, okay? So it is painful. Now, the lady told me that it wasn't going to be painful. It's going to be like period cramps. It wasn't like period cramps. It was rather painful, okay? So when I sat there, I'm breathing and bracing myself for this pain. The stuff that women's bodies go through is just unbelievable. So I'm bracing myself for this pain, right? And the it's spilling out. Then they told me that the right tube took a little longer for it to spill out, but it spilled out. So it spilled out, and so now I know that I am, on the go, me and my husband both, to have a baby. So I'm just like, okay, fine. We met with a doctor named Dr. Bess, another black doctor, which she is really dope. Hats off to her. And she told us about two methods that we could try. We could try putting his sperm directly into my egg. That's the option. Or we can go through IVF. And she was really pushing this IVF situation. Now, IVF is a term that I have heard of that women have gone through. However, IVF is rather expensive. I know that, say like Candy from Escape, Candy Burrs, I know that she's went through IVF with one of her children, but also Candy Burrs is a millionaire and has the money. And so I'm just kind of like, it's supposed to be something you go through where in 2 weeks you're supposed to be pregnant. And it seems like it would be a dream for someone like me and my husband who have been trying to get pregnant now going on for 2 years. And one thing that was said from Dr. Gordon was that, and Dr. Best, like most oftentimes when couples are older, over 40, and they haven't conceived in 2 years, it's a possibility that it may be really hard for them to do. So there's a lot of people that in their over 40 period go into doing like IVF treatments and different treatments like that. However, I serve a God, and I believe that if you have faith and you pray and you make your request known unto God and you say, God, this is what we desire. Give us the desires of our heart, because it's lining up with your will and what you will want. You said be fruitful and multiply. So that's what we trying to do in this process and in this area of our life. And so I met with Dr. Best. We did a video call. She talked about all of the options. She did tell me that when a woman starts her cycle at the age of like 11, 12, even 9, whenever you start your cycle, you are born with all the eggs that you're ever going to have. So by the time you get in your 40s, your eggs are kind of dwindling, a little bit, because you've already, passed through a lot of eggs, right? And so she was just saying, maybe you all should try the IVF. That's, telling us all the benefits and everything. And so she has signed us up with her team to do a consultation for payment options. So now she was saying, put you on payment plans, get this IVF thing rolling. And I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to go into debt trying to have a child. Not only are you trying to put me on payment plans, now say we get pregnant, now we have to save for our child, prepare for this baby. Now on the other hand, we have to now pay off a debt for something that was helped us get pregnant. So I'm just like, I don't want to do all that. So we were supposed to schedule it. The person called me. I told the person, scratch it. I don't want to schedule any type of consultation. I will, if in the future, if God tells me to pick this back up, I will call y'all and pick it back up. But for right now, I'm going to trust God and believe that He is going to give me and my husband a child. So fast forward, now I'm 42. I'm 42 years old. And there are women who still get pregnant naturally after their 40s, right? However, There are a lot of women who try, and it just doesn't happen. At this point, my husband is just kind of like, if it happens, it happens. And I'm on the same wavelength. If it happens, it happens. So what we do is, and I don't know how accurate the period app is, right? They do have an app called the period app. It actually is called that. PC. And so like period calendar or something like that. So I'm very good at putting when my period starts, and then it's very good at telling me when my ovulation week is, when my ovulation day is. So when the ovulation day is, you're supposed to get on business with your spouse. So that's what me and my husband have been trying to do. However, I'm also going to pick up ovulation kits and not just rely on the app. And I'm going to test myself in the morning after my cycle, 2 weeks after my cycle, and test myself and see when I'm ovulating so that we can go from there. So, when you're older, you have to have a plan to be able to conceive. Especially since we've had the miscarriage, now we have to have a plan to really conceive and make the baby happen. Okay, so with our faith paired with our planning, we're trusting God that He's going to bless us with a child. If it doesn't happen, though, we just have to be content and know that it did not happen for us. Will it make me sad if it doesn't happen? Yes, especially because we had that time where we was in so much joy about being pregnant, and then to have it taken so quickly away. But we're trusting God, and we're going to believe that it's going to happen. So 41, it's crazy because my life had a lot of ups and downs throughout these last couple of years. At 40, I completed my bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I went to Colorado. I walked across the stage. I graduated from Colorado Technical University. I got married at 40. My daughter graduated high school. I'm sorry. Did she graduate high school at 40? I think my daughter graduated when I was 40. Yes, she graduated high school at 40. So a lot of highs was going on at 40. Then 41 comes and we get pregnant, and I got married at 40. Okay, so 41 comes, then we find out that I'm pregnant. We're excited about that, and then miscarriage happens. Okay, so I know that in this year of 42 that God is going to bless us. I'm believing that He's going to bless us with the baby before I turn 43. Now my birthday is in June, and so June right around the corner. I know we're in February, but if you think about how time just flies, it's right around the corner. But I'm trusting and believing God that He's going to do it before I turn 43. And so with that, we have to plan to be intentional. And it was rough. It was hard for us to get through that time in our life. But however, God is faithful, and I have faith. You have to think about Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever, right? And if He did it for people in the Bible like Sarah, like Hannah, those examples in the Bible is what I hold on to. That God is no respecter of person. Just because it happened all the way back in the biblical times doesn't mean He can't do it for me and my husband. So we're going to hold on to that and knowing that it's going to happen. Okay? So y'all, that's the end of my story time for I miscarried at 41 years old. However, the flip side of that is that I know that God is able, that He is going to work it out, and that He is going to bless us, that we're going to hold away, and we're going to have faith and trust and believe that it's going to happen for us. So if anyone is watching this video that have went through a similar situation, or that is in their 40s and they want to have a baby, trust and have faith. I'm praying with you that it's going to happen for you. Have faith and believe God that He's going to do it for you. If you want it, it's a desire of your heart, pray, have faith, and believe that it's going to happen for you. Okay? And if it doesn't happen, God knows what's best for us. He knows if we need to have this at this time, if we don't need to have this at this time. He knows when and where to bless us. But for me, my desire of my heart is that God will bless us before I turn 43. And I'm going to hold on to that. Okay? So I hope this story time encouraged y'all. I'm glad I got through it without crying. I thought that I was going to have a tear or two. I felt a point where I was getting a little emotional, especially when I was talking about the fact that we had went to the ER and all of these different places and they wasn't giving us no type of resolve to why it was that I was bleeding. However, I didn't shed a tear. I got a little emotional, so I'm happy that I was able to get through this story time. And hopefully this helps somebody just really have hope that it's going to happen for them in their later years. I never even thought that I would be talking about having a baby after 40. Like, seriously, like my plan for my life is laughable because everything that I planned that I wanted to happen, definitely God was like, that's not the way it's going to happen for you. Because in my mind, I wanted to be done having children by 35. Like, that was my whole thing. I was like, by 35, I don't want to have no more kids. But I also did not want to have another child outside of wedlock. And so who knew that I was going to be married, except for God, that I was going to be married at 40. And now we're on this journey to be able to have this baby. So this is the story time about I miscarried at 41. I will definitely keep y'all updated and posted when I do actually get pregnant. And you know, when you're over 40, and you're trying to get pregnant, you gotta block out the naysayers, because there is a lot of people that are telling me at my job, and I know they think it's comical and funny or something because they'll say it in a joking manner, but a lot of this story time I have not shared with people at my job, even though I have a close relationship with some of them, right? And they'll say things like, you're 40, you're not getting pregnant, that's not happening for y'all. You're 42, y'all just need to give it up. Y'all definitely not getting pregnant, it's not going to happen for y'all, and yada, yada, yada. However, God is a God that will take the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. So when you think that you're knowledgeable about the woman's anatomy and everything, God can take something that people think will not happen and make it happen, okay? And so that's where my faith is at, what I'm believing God for, okay? So if you watching this and you believe in God for something, maybe it's not a baby, maybe it's something else in your life, just know and believe. Have faith no matter what nobody else is saying, no matter what they are saying in this ear and saying in that ear and what you see in front of you. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Means that you can't see it, but you believe it. If you believe it, then it's seen. It's seen, and it's your vision. Everybody don't have your vision. So when they're laughing and stuff, that's because they don't have the vision, because it's your vision. So you have to keep that in the forefront to say that faith is the substance of things hoped for. I'm hoping and praying for a child, or you're hoping and praying for a new job, or to get married, or a house, or whatever you're hoping for. You're hoping for that. So faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. It's not seen, but just because it's not seen doesn't mean it's not going to happen, because I'm praying and hoping for it, having faith that it's going to happen. Just because I can't see it right now doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Thank you, Lord. So that's my story time. I hope that it blessed somebody, that it touched somebody. Me sharing such a personal, touching moment in my life. I hope that it really helps somebody. And if you loved it and you like it and you can't wait to hear my next story time, go ahead and like this video. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Replay watchers, go ahead and leave some comments about if this happened to you, or if you're anticipating God to do something for you that you think is impossible. Go ahead and leave that in the comments, and I do respond and reply to comments as much as I can. So I love y'all. Thank y'all for joining me. I will be live tomorrow for Motivational Monday. I will do a motivational short, and then I will do pick up with the lunchtime language on Wednesday. I also review my 600-pound life. I will be reviewing that, and I do that review on Fridays. My content excuse me, got a little off because I was sick last week, and so I'm trying to get back on track, and that's kind of the rundown of my schedule. I also will be live next Sunday, where I will be doing Storytime Sunday, and I will bring y'all a brand new story time of something that has happened in my life, and hopefully you all will love these story times, okay? So I love y'all. I thank y'all for joining me. Until we meet again, bye.